For the Røkkr. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and eggs. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the
Octane.
That's what we wanted. That's what I'm talking about. He don't miss.
Off record deals. Tell him talk to Colin for the quote. Off record eyes. Still want to act, not the ghost. For the Røkkr, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable.
Either way, accuracy. 10 seconds. He gotta go. He's gotta fly. Will he get the kill? No. Accuracy stays alive. Players off the point. Mack staying alive as long as he can. What a beautiful flank this could be. The second. Oh, God, the round's gone.
They are. Brent has an opportunity. There's the first. There's the second. Turns on.
And still, if fire works out, you get any more? Yeah, he can. It's 5. The Young Guns in round 11. And they go big. Can he come out the corner in time? And you bet he will. That's it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and all my cat girls out there, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. The pre-show was a lot of fun, but it's about time to jump right into the games. Of course, my name is aBeZy, and this is Nameless. You saw it on the bottom of your screen, and for this series right here, man, I feel like it's going to be like the battle of we're tired of talking about your potential. Just step it the hell up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Honestly, I'm really worried for LA Thieves in this series. I actually picked LA Thieves to win this, and I just seen the map set, and it's going to be scary. It's Tuscan, Tuscan, Tuscan. Now, those are Surge's, best maps in their first, in all 3 game types.
You're right.
So, this is going to be tough. I mean, looking at LA Thieves, looking at their Tuscan, they're great in hardpoint there. You look at the Search and Destroy, 3-3, and then you look at Control. They are 1-5 in Control on Tuscan. Ooh. So, it looks like they lost a coin toss in this series, which puts Seattle in a great spot, though.
You got that right. And when it comes to Seattle, looking at this team, yeah, we've seen a matchup against the best of the best out there, and the aggression that they have can match up with some of the best players out there, like what we saw against Atlanta FaZe and whatnot. But the question is, when are they going to apply that consistency to, the middle of the pack teams, the worser teams of the league, and actually solidify themselves as one of the best out there?
Yeah, and here are the game fuel keys to victory for the Seattle Surge, and it's kind of what I just talked about. Tuscan, hardpoint, royalty, first in rotation win percentage, and hold percentage. Improve two-way Tuscan search and destroy game, first in Tuscan offensive win percentage, last in defensive win percentage. So obviously that's a standout there that they can work on. And then need that coin flip magic. They did win the coin flip, and they chose Tuscan, which puts Thieves in a very tough spot. So for Seattle Surge, what does this mean if you're a Surge fan? When you're watching the series, the early maps are extremely important, namely that map number 1, because then you feel like everything's going according to plan.
You got that right. And Seattle Surge, I'm expecting him to bring it big time. Seeing Sam Phoenix on the timeline, this guy is always trying to motivate his team and talk about how great the players are. But the thing is, you don't got to preach that to us. We know it already. We need to see it in the lobbies and on game day, because that's when Seattle should be surging on top of the leaderboards. But also the LA Thieves, man. Looking at this roster, I was so high on them heading into Major 1 and throughout the entirety of the year, right? Well, guess what? They're struggling. Currently defeated. The only team here in Stage 2 that haven't had a win yet. When you take a look at the build of this roster, it's like, okay, what exactly is going on? You take a look at the likes of Envoy, who can be the best player in the lobby, and it really doesn't matter what team he goes against. Yeah. And players like Draza and Octane that you say, you know what? We expect them to really go crazy this game along with Kenny, but we're not seeing that consistency from just about everybody yet.
You know, aBeZy, and this is probably a hot take for a lot of people out there, I'm not exactly that worried for the LA Thieves. I would like for them to keep this roster. I think it really comes down to, some search and destroy issues that they've had that they've been working on. It's gotten a lot better, and we'll get to the game fuel keys to victory, but, looking at this team, Draza needs to improve is one of the main things. Then also, for game fuel keys, Octane needs to hit the gas, 0.9 overall KD this season, 47. That's not great. Main ARs have struggled, across the league, really. When you look at some of these teams, with players like Slasher now stepping it up, teams making changes like New York. So for Octane, we know he has another level he can get to. He needs to show it. Then Lockdown, Berlin, Hardpoint, they're 4-1. Seattle's 1-2. That will be game number 4. And then get back on track on Hardpoint. They've lost 6 of their last 8 Hardpoints, and it's just an identity thing. Draza's not been playing well. You need to get better gameplay out of him, putting up more kills, being that aggressor, and working in tandem with Envoy.
Which is really insane to see, because at the beginning beginning of the year, LA Thieves and Hardpoint was just about a gimme, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Kenny was just 35. You see Octane and Envoy.
They've been getting outslayed.
They're getting outslayed.
And losing barely in these Hardpoints. Like in the last series, they lost by 15 on the Tuscan, and they lost by 40 on the Berlin. So it's like the plan is there. It's just the execution of some of these rotations and these holds. It's not
such
there.
a good team, though. We shouldn't expect this. I still like the LA Thieves, though. But it's about time for pick'ems. And even though I like the LA Thieves, I still think that they have things that they need to work out on. They're going through like an identity crisis, and they need to really find themselves as being the championship caliber team that we all realistically know that they are, right? Like, that's no cap at all. But in the meantime, I think Seattle Surge is such an up and down team, and I think that right now, I like them in this matchup. I think that their aggression, they're going to be in their face. I want to see Sib and Pred really try to throw players like Kenny off his rocker and try to get that big win. So I think Seattle takes it. I want to say like a 3-2. I think that's going to be just tightly contested.
I'm going to go with LA Thieves, you know, one last time. We'll see if they're able to get this W here. They need it for confidence. I don't really think it'll affect their standings. They're going to be in the loser bracket for sure, but I think they're going to come out and take this.
Hey, yo, champions are made in the loser side of the bracket. I don't care. Those are the best runs. But let's send this over to the casters. You're right. Lando is steady. We got Big Daddy. We also got my favorite New Yorker. How y'all feeling today?
Oh, we're feeling good. We're feeling good, guys. You guys are absolutely killing it to start off the desk. aLLeY, we miss you, but hey, the two guys are going to do their best. And we're going to do our best to try to provide this series the excitement, in my opinion, Jay, that it deserves. We have two teams that have a combined 1 victory so far at our Major II qualifiers. LA Thieves 0-4, Seattle 1-3. And Jay, these were two teams at like the Kickoff Classic that were rated as some of the best teams in the game. Both of them fallen from grace. As we take a look at our maps and modes, what do you make of the map set? What do you make of where these two teams find themselves right now?
So we heard the Des touch on it a little bit. Nameless, he specifically was talking about maps 1 through 3. That's going to be heavily in favor for Seattle. They have the advantage when you get to that search and destroy. They also have the advantage when you get to that control. But I still like the later half of this series if the Thieves are able to push it. They have that Pearl and Hardpoint, which they're really good at. And then even that Desert Sea Search and Destroy, they haven't had a lot of success on it, but they do have more success than Seattle do. But it all starts with this map number 1, man. You can see the rankings right there. Number 1 in rotation, number 1 in holds, number 1 in breaks. Seattle, they really enjoy this map, and one player in specific that has to be Simp. Every time Simp plays Tuscan Hardpoint, right now his average KD is a 1.33. So if you're the Thieves, that's a player you have to shut down.
Yeah, man, you were looking at the stats. Like, shout out to Carson, who just gives us all these numbers.
Go.
Okay, I'm gonna look map by map and just really see how good this guy is. You're like, wait, he's not dropping anything less than a 1.3 Sim. I mean, we talked about a number of different guys to look out for on this Seattle team. Sim, without a doubt, the highlight level rookie, somebody to keep an eye out for. Same thing with players like Pred, but it cannot be understated. The Thieves, specifically Octane, his first time facing off against his old franchise, spent 2 years in what was labeled as purgatory for the good old human turret, now faces off against the Surge, and what isn't necessarily a must-win victory. Obviously, Jay, you know, the Thieves, they're going to be in the losers bracket when it comes down to Major II, but confidence-wise, going 0-5, that's got to be a turnaround for them.
100%, especially with the way that stage 2 has gone for these guys. Like, they have played 4 series. 3 of those series have went all the way to a game 5, with them losing a majority of these hard points. You saw the Des in the keys to victory. It said that they lost their last 6 out of 8 hard points. And when you think about a team like LA Thieves, that is where they see a lot of success. But unfortunately, the game is going to restart. It's okay. It's okay.
Do our
But
best.
the Thieves, I feel like when we talk about this roster, what it has to be, when you talk about them stepping up in hardpoint, we say a player like Draza needs to step up, but it also has to be Octane. Both of these guys are not really putting up their best numbers throughout stage 2. Pretty sure they're both sitting around a 0.8, and they're only losing a margin of these hardpoints by like 20 to 30 points. So that's insane stat. That means that they're definitely doing the good job of making sure they're getting to early rotations, but it has to be on their setups. They're not being able to pick up a couple of these kills. Losing hardpoints by only 15 points, you probably pop a 2-piece, changes the game completely. So I'm looking at Draza, I'm looking at Octane to really step up in the response today.
Yeah, and it's just a credit, right, to the group of 4 players that you have on your screen to say that a team who is 0-4, who's not winning hard points as often, who's getting outslayed by numbers like 60, 70 kills. They got outslayed by 71 kills yesterday versus LAG.
Insane.
Yet there is still so much, I don't want to say excitement, but at least some many people out there who still think that this roster can work, Nameless being one of those people. And I got to agree. I think there's still some great pieces on this team that you can, I don't know, maybe work through, whether it's the roles, whatever really the conversation may be. There is still so much promise with this roster, but an 0-4 start is not at all the way that you'd expect for this team to perform. And it's weird, Jay, because as we said, I mean, this was a roster who was winning hardpoints, I don't want to say effortlessly, but when you have a 14-3 record after Major 1, you expect at least some of that to come into Major 2. However, not at all the case. 2-5, they only have hardpoint victories on Berlin. That is the only map that they have been able to win, which it used to be their auto veto. Feels like everything is out of order right now for LAT. What seems to be the biggest thing that you want to see them improve upon coming into this match? Granted, given that it is the last match of our Major II qualifiers, but what do you want to see be the primary adjustment for this team versus the Surge?
Believe it or not, I think it still has to be hardpoint for me, because when we watched this team throughout stage 1, that was their best game mode. But throughout stage 2, I feel like they've really just been improving in their search and destroys. Like I said, they've played 4 series, 3 of them going all the way to a game 5, where they have been losing that game 5 search and destroy. You've just been seeing improvements in their search and destroy. A player like Octane has really been stepping up, because throughout all of stage 1, he was sitting at like a 0.8, and that was their worst game mode. We saw them all throughout Major 1. If they can take a search and destroy, they had the potential to win the entire thing, but that wasn't the case. They just simply needed to step up in that game mode, and I feel like throughout stage 2 they have, especially Octane. Like I said, 0.8 throughout stage 1, right now sitting at a 1.17. And when you talk about the search and destroy, I feel like between these two teams, the most important map is going to be that map 2. You're going to have on the opposite side Seattle, who are sitting at 2-0, but for the Thieves, they're sitting at 3-3. And what I really like about this, though, is that the Thieves, even though they're sitting at a 3-3 record, it's not better than Seattle's. Both of Seattle's wins on that map are all the way in around 11. 1 versus Atlanta, 1 versus Minnesota. So this is the way for the Thieves to try to get into this. If they can show their continuous improvement in search and destroy, if they can get out of this slump that they are in a hard point, potentially take this map number 1, then you're going to have Seattle just completely mind blown, because the last 2 maps, like I said, are heavily in favor for the Thieves.
Yeah, if you're Thieves as well, you just don't want to see a game 5. Like exactly. The last 3 series have gone to game 5. You're not winning those. We'll see if they can manage to get it done in some of an earlier fashion versus a team in the Seattle Surge, who we'll now talk about, who still has something to fight for. Granted, when we talk about the records, I don't wish to have that job at any point in my life where I have to calculate the 3-2 records versus the 2-3 records, who has what map stats versus another. But Seattle still has something to fight for, right? We saw a few teams manage to slide into those 7th and 8th seeds last major when it came down to the overall record. Surge, I know, like I said, while there's a lot of uncertainty, I think for them, they don't even know what's going to happen now. Yeah. But there is still something to fight for with this roster. And it's weird, Jay, because the only win that Seattle have so far throughout this major is versus the Atlanta FaZe. Like, that'd be the least likely scenario that they would have a W in, as we reset and get back into Tuscan hardpoint and I guess reaffirm the situations, the conversations that we've had. What have you seen from Seattle that you also want to see improved upon now?
Well, Seattle, when you talk about the series that they had versus Boston, they ended up getting 3-0. They play versus LG, they lose 3-1. It all has to start, though. Like, they can come out and potentially always win that opening hard point, but for this team as well, there has to be that game 2 search and destroy. But don't worry, we'll focus on that as we get to that map number 2. Let's just focus on this map number 1. As you see, Envoy starting off with a huge 2-piece, Octane with the 3rd, to get early control of this P1 hard point. And before this even starts, Seattle, they're usually really good at this P1.
Yeah, and we've actually heard a lot of people, more talk about the P1, specifically the second set of rotations P1, how important that hill is to hold. It's very similar to a lot of the hardpoint maps, actually, that we have in this game, where P1 can almost function as a money hill. A lot of fights still to go on through. Pistol is out for Octane as he'll manage to drop 30 unanswered points so far for the Thieves. Seattle do have those spawns for next, but they're gonna have to rely on a lot of that time if they expect to have a very one-sided P1. Draza wins the fight for the final seconds, and now it will be Surge prepared for pillars.
And now the Thieves, they put themselves in the driver's seat 40 seconds off of this P1 hardpoint. That's usually something that Seattle have been dominating on this map, only allowing their opponents to average at least 10 points off that P1. So now you're up by a good chunk of time. You're just going to try to force this break from the front side. You see everyone from the Thieves trying to attack from top radio. Josh just flies out, finds the opening kill. It leads to Envoy and Kenny finding 2 of their own, and they break it.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play. Draza, he just jumps on in, right? There's been so much talk about him not being able to slide. And he says, you know what? Nobody calls me a fast SMG. I'll just fly at their face. It's no problem. What was the term last year for flying? We're frying. Draza doing that so far. Eventually drops his Octane trade the 1v1. 1v1's a plenty, it seems, is the final 20. Look to be in a good position to go for LAT. Thieves as well, prepared for new as the battles will continue. It is going to be the Thieves with the preferred rotation a great job at holding off a lot of the seconds the Surge were looking to gain over at Column, but now it's time for another money hill, specifically Envoy, the man to rotate for next, as we've got a few interesting spawns actually going down on the map. Looked like it was Thieves in primary position, but now it's Surge with the numbers as we rotate for next. A lot of crucial kills up close, but it will be player 1 in Sib who takes one off the rotation. 3 down, Seattle at next.
They were able to take down Envoy from the back, so they secured these spawns for the time being. But look at the pressure coming in from the Thieves. Everyone spawning towards that field side. They're able to find a 2-piece in the feed. Kenny with the 3rd. But right now, they're just doing a great job of just keeping Seattle off the point until Seattle right then and there are able to find every single kill in the feed. 25 seconds left. Seattle with a great hold on this P3 to get right back into this game. You have to start thinking about these rotations.
Yeah, you without a doubt do. 15 seconds down. A Sib wins a nice one over there at the crucial corner we like to call iBeZy. The rotations aplenty. It's now going to be the Thieves who are prepared over at Church. They're pretty much neck and neck game up to this point, and at least so far in regards to slaying, it is the Surge pretty handily throughout our first 3 hard points. See 4 and 7 for Octane, Kenny at 4 and 9. And as we said, Jay, that has been the continuous trend for this Thieves team. When they are winning hard points, which it's not very common, they seem to continue to get outslayed. You feel like if that changes up, how dramatically that record would increase.
100%, man, because this team they're so well-rounded. Such a great team that's been formed for the LA Thieves roster. When you think about the talent that this team has, they just have to put it all together, man. The teams are starting to catch up, and it's been showing in their hardpoint game. It's just Seattle, they were able to break on into this P4 hardpoint, putting a lot of pressure in towards bottom Church. Kenny trying to do everything he can to try to stay alive, but with 23 seconds left, you have to start thinking about that rotation. But the Thieves, they do not want to give up the reigning chunk time here.
And they do not at all, but a great 2-piece comes in from Mack. A great little moment for him, as the final 10 are going to be huge, considering that rotation can be a dicey one, my friend, as the Thieves will grab the scrap, but it's now time for Command Center. Yeah, that's the official name of this hardpoint. You can call it whatever you want, but according to the game, it's called Command Center. The problem being is that it feels like you can't really get a whole lot of commanding map control. I don't even know what to say on this hardpoint. It is mixy and then some. Feels like it belongs to Bocage, for God's sake. The Surge are there early, but it's the Thieves who break in 15 seconds early. And with that, they will grab the advantage in this game. Envoy hunting and searching for everybody that he can find, as it's Seattle now knocking on the door.
Just pay attention to what number 1 is doing. He's making his way all the way around top. Church Draza reads it beautifully, so you're gonna shut down that initial pinch coming in from Seattle, but they're able to find a 2-piece. Octane trying to do everything he can to stay alive. Kenny with the assistance. 25 seconds left. Seattle able to break on in for the remaining 20, but Draza's still here trying to cause some havoc.
Can do his best. Back and forth we go, as it really is just 1v1 after 1v1. Pred will pretty much set up Mack now for the final seconds, as it's time for the rotation. And as we said, partner, a lot of discussions about this second side of rotations, P1, how it can absolutely dictate the way that this game goes. So it'll be the hard point that we're looking out for dramatically in regards to time. Pretty much a neck and neck game, but it's the Thieves who are there early. Surge managed to have spawns for next, so they'll look to keep that at their backside. But Pred, speaking of backsides, it's gonna be a Thorn right now in theirs. Great kills aplenty. A Surge break on through. Pred and co continue to win the fights inside the middle. That is a force spray right now for the Aussie. Well, Accuracy's trying to do the damage inside of the hill. He drops, and a teammate comes in from LAT.
And LA Thieves, they're just trying to flood through field side. They're trying to get any chunk of time off of this P1, as they do have the lead currently. Octane with a big kill towards you. Well, with 20 seconds left, you have to start thinking about that rotation. Mack gonna rotate all the way towards the left side of this map to try to cancel this P5 side. But you see what LA Thieves are doing. They're trying to attack from field side. They find that opening kill. Envoy and his teammate, they're both gonna get 2-piece as well. Simp going huge off the rotation to find that 2, secures the spawns for Seattle.
Oh, a big moment right there for Surge, and they hold on down in this game. But as we said, a chance possibly for a winner's bracket position at Major 2. Let's see how the comms are sounded. Let's go to a listening with the Surge.
Kenny ramp, we got ramp. I got one plat on me.
Nothing in the back.
Staying down. Time weak, top plat.
Absolute ramp. Ramp top plat.
Yeah, last 2, you push that back out.
Yeah, he's on me. I dropped the detonate. He's in the back wall.
I'm in the corner windows.
Okay, Envoy's
I got one.
Envoy's on response.
Yeah, he's
One way, one shot.
One more ramp. Ramp one shot.
Running in the back. Drops the dead.
Nice, last guy in the back.
Yeah, give me ramp behind me. I'm sorry. Don't push back. Okay, he's weak.
I have ramp.
Envoy's top plat.
I'm on shot. I'm going down.
Yeah, you wanna go windows?
Stop by.
I'm back into P1.
2, one more.
Nice.
Nice, last guy.
Drives there.
Nice.
I have P1, guys.
I backed up.
I have P1, back up to roofs.
Yeah. I'm looking mid for a second. Hit that. Ramp, envoy, challenge old. I got him. Nice. Mid, dead.
I have P1, okay?
Yeah, I'm top focus.
I'm laying down fire tree.
I got initial. Okay. Top dead. I'm fucking shitting on him.
I can see mid alley and I have P1.
I'm going roost. I got another one. I'm on for glad. That's square. I'm going rogue. I'm gonna go.
Where are you spawning right now? Middle?
One top broken. Top broken shit on bad. I'm spawning roost.
Spawning roost, guys. P1 envoy. Envoy's P1.
I have to look hard.
Absolute roofs, Kenny. I'm coming mid alley. I'm coming mid alley. One shot right, P1.
Time weak.
One shot.
Nice.
Three. Two on top.
Yeah. Nice. Last guy.
He's behind the fountain, guys. Nade it.
You want me to glide or no? No. Okay.
I'm coming P1 side.
I hit him with the nade, guys.
I'm nading.
I'm him in time. On the roof, on the wall, on the close left.
I need time.
You've got to love the hype that we are seeing from this Seattle team. Pred goes for like 7-8 in a row. I think it was Accuracy who's getting loud. You got Pred in the mix going, hey, Lamar, they're at P2. Everybody's getting loud right now from the Surge. They brought themselves back in this game, Jay. And as we said, a team that still has something to fight for. It sounds like they absolutely do.
Yeah, the comms right there, they were lit. You could just hear Brad. He was on a terror. Like I said, he picks up those kill streaks. But the only thing is that they allowed the Thieves to start spawning out towards back roofs and eventually break into this P3. It was beautiful out of the Surge. They were finding every single kill, but so far pushed up on the map allows the Thieves to break into that P3 hard point, gain this 20-point lead. Now try to execute this break for this P4. Octane with an unfortunate team nade, but he does take down 2. The Thieves break on it.
Oh, and it's SMG-Tane for a moment. Only a brief look at that MP40 in his hands. We'll see if he looks to bring it back out, but it's Pred, who is 28-18, eventually dies. But again, he has taken over throughout the middle portion of this game. The second set of rotations have all been about the Thunder from down under. 25 seconds left over at Church, and a lot of crucial time still to gain as Accuracy holds the back, and Sib trying to pivot inside of the hill. A lot of time, as we said, to be had, but it's a fist right when you walk through the Church. The last thing you want to see, as it is Seattle, as the dust begins to settle with the advantage, with the time. Rotation is in, and I was going to say for a moment, it looks like it could be a 1v1 over at P5, but as we said, Seattle down, they rally back. We have got ourselves a neck-and-neck game going in toward our final hill of the second side.
Yeah, just make sure you hit your nades there because it's about to get real loud on this P5 hardpoint. As LA Thieves, they're able to break on in. Envoy with the aggression, able to find that kill on the opposite side on a 4 spree. He eventually does get taken down, but the Thieves have control. They're trying to hold down this push coming in from Seattle. Not a single player from Seattle is trying to attach from bottom. As Mack, he finds one, Simp finds a second, but Envoy, he finds 2. Now with 28 seconds left, the Thieves, they're doing a great job of just keeping this a contest fest.
Doing a good job at it, but just like that, Seattle break on through again. It's break after break, kill after kill. Feels like everybody from Surge somehow just managed to fit their way inside of P5. But how about the shots from Sib? You brought up the stats earlier, Jay, on his numbers on Tuscan, and it is clear that he feels unbelievably comfortable on these Italian streets. The final seconds come on through, and it's 30 more left for LAT. Can call this one a game 1 victory, but the battle has only begun. We go toward P1 once more. It is Seattle there and Thieves on the back foot.
And Pred still has these streaks to work with. So the Thieves are able to find every single kill. They're able to break into this P1. So now if you're Pred off spawn, you have to invest this streak. You have to try to find an opening kill, as Sid does find one onto Kenny. Octane with the trade, but now it's a 2v2 still on this point. Envoy going big. The last player close enough is going to be Pred. He has to try to at least take down one, but the Thieves, they are holding. They are holding. They're trying to close it out here.
It looks good for them to do it. Accuracy at least is able to allow for the trade. 4 more seconds before Thieves can call this game theirs. Mack with the big one as he and the boys from Seattle desperately try to hop inside of the hill, but it will not be enough. The LA Thieves will walk away with the game 1 hardpoint. Really the mode that they saw so much success on in Major 1. It has been their downfall so far throughout our Major 2 qualifiers, but they turn up in the biggest moment possible. We felt momentum on the side of Seattle, but it will not be their day. LAT up 1-0.
The turning point in this game 100% has to be when the Surge are rotating from that P2 to that P3, when Pred was going on that streak. Because like I said, they were so far pushed up on the map. Pred was still slaying around bottom Church. that they allowed the Thieves to eventually spawn out towards top roof side and flip those spawns and put themselves up by 30 points. You saw the surge, they were able to climb back into it with a great P4 hold, and even going back and forth for that P5. But then off the rotation, Envoy goes so big in the final moments. When Pred calls in that glide bomb, he picks up one. They were eventually able to find two. Turns into a 2v2. Envoy's pushed out on their side. He finds a two-piece and then continuously just puts on the aggression, not allowing any Surge players to get close to that point. The Thieves, they were not in a position to win that map number 1, but once again, they clutch up in the final moments and take this map, and now they're up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, I mean, you saw some excellent performances from multiple players on this Tuscan hardpoint. What you had Sid and Pred both go for like 35 and 27, something like that. And obviously on the other end, the player that we talk about a decent amount when it comes down to this Thieves team, but in my eyes deserves that much more praise. I know the record hasn't been great, but Envoy absolutely has. Dark Prince striking early in this HP, and as we said, Jay, his numbers have been great. He's been having some excellent performances, and without a doubt, one of the primary players throughout this game 1, and especially in the biggest moments there at the end. A hard point that we said was huge for the Thieves to take, and they get it done.
And now we're going into a search and destroy where this is going to be potentially huge for both of these teams once again. We know that Seattle on Tuscan S&D, they're sitting at 2-0. But you saw the stat that popped up on the desk earlier. They're number 1 on offense, but they're dead last on defense. The thing that can help them the most now after this recent patch that we just got is that in search and destroy, specifically on Tuscan and also control, you're getting a closer spawn. So now where you see a lot of Tuscan or search and destroy offenses where they're usually just attacking down that middle map, getting there right off the rip, it changes it now, because now on defense, due to the timings, you can get control of that middle map on the defensive side earlier than you can on the offense. So now this can change up a lot of things for Seattle on this map specifically.
Yeah, it's I guess kind of a positive, if you will, for both teams. Seattle maybe a chance to slow the game down a little bit after the hardpoint loss, and I guess when it comes into slaying, LAT still get the job done in the hardpoint, but our stats team letting us know outslayed by 12 and still get the job done. I don't know what it is, Jay, about this Thieves team, but they're not outslaying when they're getting hardpoint victories. They're not outslaying even when they're losing, but they get the job done just enough. But as we said, maybe a chance to slow down the gameplay a little bit, map that both teams are incredibly comfortable with. And as you said, the strategy's starting to evolve with the patches that we're seeing be brought in. We got the Bocage, a bomb site being moved, the spawns adjusted on Tuscan, specifically on the defensive end for S&D and control. So as you said, partner, you'll see a lot of those adjustments be made, and really in favor of the defense on both of those ends. Been watching a lot of S&D wagers, and it feels like the team that's spawning back church, right? Obviously on the defensive end in S&D, a lot more freedom in the middle side of the map.
100%, man. Like I said, on defense, you're basically spawning really close to that back door of church, so you can beat them out middle map whenever you want. So it basically is going to shut down that initial push towards that A bomb from the middle map. And even if you try to overextend and go through field side, when you're that player on the defensive side, you can still beat them to the Cellium head glitch. So it throws off the timings completely on this map. But the Surge, this is where they need to respond, because they did win the coin flip. They got that Tuscan control in their back pocket. But this is where they really need to step up and secure this map, because that later half of the series, like I said, the Berlin and the Desert Siege are heavily in favor for the LA Thieves. But look at our top performers so far in Search and Destroy. 1.07 coming out of Pred, 1.0 coming out of Envoy. Envoy, for some reason, he's been stepping up for this LA Thieves roster. It's not for some reason. He's a great Search and Destroy player. But just watching him and what he's able to do for his team, he's the playmaker. And opposite side for Pred, same exact thing. And more specifically, touching on Pred a little bit more, on Search and Destroy Tuscan, his overall KD, they've only played it twice, but he's sitting at a 1.57. So if you are LA Thieves, you got to shut that guy down. Do not allow him to be the playmaker. Go for that late fake to P5.
Yeah, without question. There you see the Tuscan S&D ranks. We told you about the players to look out for, and there you see how offense and defense have been working out for both these teams. A lot more success in offense than defense, and it's been much more dramatic from the Seattle side. As we'll go and take a look at that defensive end, newly adjusted. Simp, hot and heavy into those field engagements, cracks out the sniper, but it's accuracy who's able to drop that first blood. Thieves trying to walk away with their tail between their legs, but right when they do, Pred is there. Does not matter though, as Octane walking away with the headshot, and they smell blood in the water. They go hunting for Sib as well. A great turnaround here for Thieves, as they've now got the man advantage.
So down to 3v2. If you're Seattle, you're probably thinking, oh, they're just going to try to work this A-bomb quick. But I like Thieves, they're working this rotation. So now with 45 seconds left, the player that's going to be closest in this position is going to be aCBeZy. As he is going to be at least able to spot one. He takes down the first, takes down the second with great teamwork coming in from Mack, turns it into a 1v1.
Mack versus Octane. Mack looks to reposition. And Octane somewhat frustrated after aCBeZy pretty much had a hand in taking down two of his teammates. That man count advantage instantly evaporated. As here we come into the fights, and Mack, as he instantly hop on the defuse, he catches Octane from the back, fires at a few shots. Can Octane get out of here in time? And no, he will not. Mack hunts him down. Great work from he and aCBeZy in the 2 versus 3 to silence what appeared to be a bomb rotation. Doesn't pan out, and good timing for Mack as he'll grab the first round.
Good adjustments coming in from Seattle, especially aCBeZy and Mack. The teamwork right there to shut down that B push. Beautiful crossfires from both of them to at least even up the numbers, making a 1v1. Then Octane, he gets that bomb down towards A. Mack spots him as he tries to run away. But Mack hitting that bullet, that one bullet before he actually turns the corner in towards bottom church, gives him the advantage in the gunfight. He's able to win it with the pistol. Seattle take the first.
A dicey defense there out of the Seattle Surge, as we said. Worst team in the game at it, but at least able to answer off the rip. And well, Octane's going to make him feel for that early round. Cuts him down with the snipe. A gun that we know Sam LaRue loves to have in his back pocket. Brought back after a little bit of a time away from it, but regardless of that, Seattle do answer back with 2 kills of their own. So great work coming through out of aCBeZy and Mack once more. The 2 catalysts in round number 1 will now be called upon in round number 2. Roles reversed though.
Yeah, 2v2 situation. It was just a 4v2. If you're the Thieves, you want to just at least play slow, force them to get that bomb planted. But Kenny takes down one. The challenge is going to be here. aCBeZy, Iceman makes it a 1v1. But look at your positioning for your Octane. He's able to work his way in the top church. Might get great timing here.
Good indeed. Iceman versus the human turret. Just Avengers waiting to happen. Is Octane. Hello. Spots him, beams him, takes him down. Caught, captured, and killed. LAT will answer with 1.
And that's a scary round, though. If you're LAT, like, it's got to be a lot cleaner than that. You find that first blood. Octane with great shots with that snipe onto Sib, and then Draza finds that kill onto that player at Fountain. Now in a 4v2 situation, you do not have to be aggressive towards middle aLLeY. You do not have to be aggressive towards A. You give them a free 2 kills, a force it to a 2v2 when that round should 100% be like yours without a doubt. Make it a little bit more difficult, but Octane is able to clutch it up. Force it to a 1-1, but it needs to be cleaner throughout the rest of the S&D.
It absolutely does. And if you're a Seattle fan, you want to see those rookies get on the board, as Pred will have to enter another round with the good old donut. Based off his body, you imagine he doesn't eat those very often, so he'll have to handle it for now and hope to improve it to a breadstick, as we are at 1-1. Thieves with the answer in this round number 3. The first blood has been granted. And on their attacking side, as Sib looks to keep out the sniper, the crosshair still firmly over at the field. But no picks yet.
Right now, the Thieves, they do have the man advantage, but they do know the positioning of Mack, so they're just trying to pick up this kill. You see that number 8 player in Envoy hits through that mid cut. Mack does find one. He eventually does get traded. Envoy with the chase onto Simp with the sniper. Once again, that indication that he does miss that snipe. That aCBeZy, the Iceman, in a 1v3.
See what aCBeZy looks to do. 28 seconds. Eyeing out that A bomb, and not going to be there by any means. Thieves very quick on the rotation, and they've got the numbers to make that fast adjustment. As we call for aCBeZy, the one player that you don't want to see in 1v2, 1v3 situations, but called upon to do the dirty work. First one eliminated, as Draza will do all he can to at least provide some comms on where aCBeZy looks to roam. Making his way down through the ramp. Does he hop on the defuse? And he will. Time will tick. Will anybody from the Thieves check this? They can't see him.
Oh my.
They cannot see aCBeZy on the defuse. How about the plays? Out of aCBeZy again. The Iceman, for a reason, pulls a 1v3 out of nowhere.
Are we serious? Are we serious if you're the Thieves? Like, I understand he finds that first kill onto Draza. It's 35 seconds left. But one player in Envoy, he wraps his way all the way through top church, finds himself in TJHaly, then basically meets up with Octane in the back of the spawn. The bomb was not planted for that position. That is another round right there where the Thieves are going to be looking like, what the hell are we doing? That was terrible out of the Thieves. Seattle able to clutch up.
Octane and Envoy were like, you see this guy lately? No, is he on the bomb site? As they look at each other with no presence on that bomb site. A frustrating round for Thieves, but they will answer back with aggression. It's a nade, and it is an early elim there for Drazah. His accuracy, maybe with a smirk on his face, has to sit this round out early. Mack and Drazah will trade now all up to Simp at a 1v3. Maybe a young Iceman type of move, maybe learning from the vet. I've been calling things too early as he gets the unfortunate timing. Drazah just on his heels. And the timing could work out if he instantly turns to his left. Oh my God, Simp instantly with 2. And now it's a 1v1 versus Octane.
35 seconds. I can't even believe he just got those 2 kills. Now he puts himself in a 1v1. 30 seconds left. Wraps his way all the way back towards A. He spots Octane as well, and he's able to win it. Oh my God, let me tell you, Lando, if I'm Nate Shot and I'm watching this, my head is going through a wall. This is back-to-back rounds where the Thieves are just giving up these man advantage. Is that another 1v3?
That is. That was back-to-back 1v3s.
What are we doing?
Like, okay, on the map, right? I'm saying, okay, Simp could get some good timing. In my mind, I'm like, yep, 3, 2, 1, probably dead. No, not at all. He takes down Kenny. He takes down Drazah with the beatdown, which again, I don't even know how that's even a thing in this game. And then he just plays Octane like a fiddle. What is going on? Seattle, 2 rounds, and 2 of them are because of 1v3s. First blood, a positive gear surge, because my goodness, they can just not be taken down. It is double nades to start, and LAT, specifically the management, the organization has got to be heated. They've got to be furious.
2v4.
1v4. It's done.
1v4.
It's done, Jay. It's done.
Oh my. Oh my. Right now, the Seattle Surge, they're just making this look easy. Obviously, 2 1v3s really help, but you can just tell after you get 2 clutch rounds like that, confidence is through the roof. Mack finds that first blood, finds a second with that nade, and in a 4v2, the difference is from Seattle to the Thieves that you see Seattle, they're not budging. They're not giving them any information, not going to allow them to try to at least get picked in that situation, as that was a clean 4 up, 4 down. Seattle, unbelievable so far in the search and destroy, man.
These guys are stomping. My goodness. Feeling confident. They're strutting their way over toward the field. As it is a first blood again for Mack. He's been great with the nades, but instantly on the other side. It is Envoy taking matters into his own hands. Chooses aggression. Along with the nade over the top, it will give Thieves the man advantage. And I pray to God, honestly, Jay, that the Thieves do not find this pick. Because if they do, it's going to be another 1v3.
Yeah, hopefully they do not, man. They have everything they ever wanted. They got the bomb down. They have all A control. All they have to do is just basically play a trade situation. As players are still going to be spread. You see number 2 in accuracy, though. He's trying to work his way back through that P3 fountain area. And you see 2 players from the Thieves playing back-to-back. Just basically covering this bomb. As Drazah does find that pick on the accuracy. Now it's a 1v3 left up to Pred. No, not again. Not again.
Surely not. Surely. Okay, Drazah spots him. Okay, Seattle, the jig is up. You've had your fun. Now it's time to get serious. Okay, there we go. Thieves able to answer, but I gotta say one thing really quick. I know Thieves win the round. We gotta give them props for doing that, but still, you're seeing accuracy constantly, like prone walk throughout the map. That is the reason why he's able to get that sneak defuse. Obviously, he gets gunned by Drazah at the ends of that round, but you can just see the little plays from accuracy, trying to be a nuisance, taking advantage of every little thing that he can. Thieves sniff him out there, but as we said, this game should pretty much be flip-flop. This should be a 4-2 in favor of the Thieves. But in reality, the roles are reversed. We'll see if the Thieves can answer back now on this next attack.
And one player that we were talking about who's always dominant on this map is Fred. He's sitting at 1-5. His teammates are doing everything that he can as he finds that first blast this time around. Goes for the challenge onto the second, but Envoy makes it 2. So now the Thieves once again have the man advantage in the 3v2. They're going to decide to wrap this bomb back towards A.
I mean, like we said, I mean, the 2 rounds, they have a 1v3. Those should be dubs. They're looking great in the early starts of these rounds. And specifically Envoy in these last 2 have taken matters, as we said, into his own hands. Great and impactful starts as Sib will shut down Octane. Accuracy instantly on the reply. It may not be a 1v3, but a 2v3 still looks nice. As it's all up to Kenny. The swing round right now for LAT. Cella's got to get that bomb. And has to try to bring it all together. Accuracy shuts him down, and there you have it. Another little clutch out of Seattle once more.
2v3. Once they find that pick on the Octane, if I'm Octane in that situation, you don't commit to that gunfight. Like, the fact that Envoy stays alive, like, it's a blessing right there. You do not want to commit to that gunfight, potentially even up the numbers. But once Sib finds that kill in a 2v2 situation, Envoy, now this is where he's thinking objective-minded. We got to get this bomb down. We have to try to at least put 45 seconds on the clock and clutch this round. He gets picked. They force it into a 2v1, and Seattle, they're capitalized on it once again. Puts himself at gate point this time around. There you see the Thieves, they're attacking heavily towards the middle of the map.
I mean, 2 kills just instantly off the start of this round. As you see, LAT taking full advantage of those new defensive spawns. They hop right early inside of middle. Get that positioning now over at P5 as they may look to try and open this one up again. Player number 6 specifically is going to be the guy for information in Draza. Oh, hiding. He was hiding, looking for that head glitch over at P1, but he gets found out from Pred. A slower game so far, but his kills have been impactful. The ones that he's been able to find. His accuracy able to find one onto Envoy as well. It is now all up to Octane of 1v3 for the game. Stops the defuse, but cannot find that final kill onto Pred. It is clutch after clutch from Seattle Surge, and that will carry them into a Game 2 victory. A solid one at that, full of highlights, as they brought us to 1-1.
And that was a clean search and destroy from the Seattle Surge, man. Every time they were at a disadvantage, they were always doing the right plays, making sure that at least the team of 2 left in the 2v3s, the 2v4 situations, they always had great communication on how they were going to set up on these crossfires. A majority of clutches coming in from them. But we got to talk on the Thieves, man. Like, that is terrible. That is a terrible S&D performance coming in from them. You have a majority of these rounds where you get that first blood. You have a man advantage. You're just simply not planting the bomb. And that was one thing that I wanted to touch on for the Thieves in Search and Destroy, specifically throughout Stage 2, is that they've been planning a lot. A majority of the time when they plant, 75% win rate once they get that bomb planted. Versus a team like the Surge, that is huge, because when the bomb is planted for the Surge and they have to execute a retake, they're only at 18% at executing on the retake. It's not good. So they're just simply not planning. But the Thieves, I'm pretty sure the only time that they have gotten 2 plants, accuracy in a 1v3 ninja defuse. And then in a 1v1, you see that Mack, he was able to find that kill onto Octane. But if you're the Thieves, you got to let this one go. Just let it go, because that is a complete choke. Like I said, a majority of these rounds you get man advantage and you're still not able to clutch it up. I thought that this was their best game mode so far throughout Stage 2, but they completely put it right back in the hole for me. Too many mistakes right there. Now tie this series up at 1 apiece, and they're going into a Tuscan control where they really haven't seen a lot of success.
Yeah, Jake, you're not leaving me with a ton of hope right now for LAT. Obviously, the game is early, but I love your little rants, stud. Those are good. I know we talked about Stephen H. Smith. We got Stephen J. Smith right now on the broadcast. A great little moment there for Seattle, but we'll see if it can last, folks. Make sure to stay with us. The interesting series, as we said, where one team, they're already out of it for the winners, but Seattle still fighting, still giving it everything that they have got. We're going to see some more Tuscan up next after this break. Gets control on the Italian streets.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can. Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, friends. It's time to take a look at our Scuff play of the game. One of the multiple, yeah, I said multiple 1v3s that we see here out of Seattle. Jay, I mean, look at this. Look at what Draza was seeing from his perspective. Simp was a man on fire in this round.
Yeah, he finds that first kill onto Kenny, then hits Draza with the Tyson punch to take him down, forces it to a 1v1, and then just works the clock to his advantage, wraps the entire map, finds himself at field, and then picks Octane towards that top church area. That was beautiful search and destroy but from the Seattle Surge. If you're the Thieves, just completely chalk it up in the air. Don't even worry about it. Like, you go back and review it later on throughout the rest of the year, because you might not even want to go back and look at that immediately, because you know exactly why you lost. 1v3 after 1v3, you get the man advantage in certain rounds, you're still losing some of these rounds. Terrible performance out of the Thieves, but now we have a series tied up at 1 apiece, and now they're going into a Tuscan control, which hasn't been good on the side of the Thieves this entire season so far. They're sitting at 1-5 on this map compared to Seattle, who are 3-3. And look at these stats so far on Tuscan control. Basically 11th or dead last in everything when it comes to this map and mode for the LA Thieves. They need to figure something out, man. Offensive win sitting at 15%. That one's gonna change for me. I feel like when we watched the Thieves yesterday, especially even though it was on a different map versus LAG on that Kabuto, they were outslayed by 21 to 25 kills, but they were still able to win the control now that we have that fix where you have segments instead of kills. So even if they're getting outslayed, just make sure you're doing the objective work.
Yeah, man. I mean, my stomach was turning looking at those LA Thieves numbers on Tuscan. We'll see if they can be different, but as we said, Jay, the numbers, rather the overall gameplay really changing up here for control, right? Going off of ticks instead of kills. Love to see those changes coming in, as we'll see how Seattle look to handle business now on their first attacking ground with these updates being made. Didn't have a game yesterday, so they'll be doing their best to try and make the best effort that they can. Fred on the aggression, nice kill. They're on to Envoys. He looks to set up shop, but in reality, it's actually Seattle who happened to be over at that B zone. Thieves somewhat caught off guard as they made their way up into multiple portions of the map, but really nowhere where Seattle happens to be.
Yeah, Seattle, they're able to find every single kill. So the first tick of progression does come in towards B. They eliminate Draza from that A position as well. So they already complete one segment. Accuracy trying to do everything he can to try to stay alive. Unfortunately, he does get taken down. So the Thieves, they stop that B point from getting to that second tick of progression. But Seattle, they have full control of A. Now the Thieves are trying to attack this from the middle of the map.
Yeah, really just good work out of Surge to keep the Thieves on their toes. The nice shot in the middle of the map there from Draza. Seeing the team look to try to set on up, but it is really no map pressure whatsoever out of the Thieves. I mean, it looks like these guys are like on an 8-second respawn delay. Like, it feels like they are just having such a difficult time in getting out of their spawn. So that will be 3 ticks, 4 ticks total in the books, but the 3 that will add the extra minute onto the clock now onto this attack. And right now, a solid spread out right now from Surge. 3 players through field, and it's Pred making his way through P5. First job done. Kenny off of the tank.
That's a big kill coming in from Seattle, because now this forces a couple players who are sitting towards top plat to now hit the rotation. This allows Pred to eventually pounce on them. He finds that second kill and he gets out with his life as his teammates are approaching from the backside. Mack with huge shots, able to find a 2-piece to take control of this top flat area. And right now, Seattle, they're just not missing, man. Their guns are hot.
They are indeed, man. They cannot get away from this point. Accuracy off 34 HP. Finally gets wiped away, but they are just bullying the LA Thieves so far throughout this attacking round. A great start. Really just based off lives, based off of everything. Up by 6 is the unfortunate team kill. Comes on in from Kenny on to Draza. The Star Wars duo, as we like to call them. Not having a good moment right there. Draza now holding firmly at the tank. Last time Kenny was not able to hold down this position, and now heavily pressured. We'll see if Draza can at least find one. As it's Pred, it's Simp. Everybody finding kills from the Surge, as it will be a clean 4 down and 1 more tick to go.
And now if you're the Thieves, you have to get on this point. It's about to be completed. Seattle, they have a 2-stack going. They're able to find another 2-piece in the feed, make it all 3. And that is just clean clean offensive play coming in from the Seattle Surge. They start off by getting that early tick progression towards B. Makes their job a little bit easier once they complete that A point. But they were just doing a great job of just finding every single kill. The way that they executed that B break was beautiful. You have one player who's slow playing towards P5. You have 3 players who are attacking that flank. And the Thieves, 2 times now, they basically left Kenny or Draza in the back by himself. So once they find that kill, they're forcing him to hit that rotation. And Seattle Surge, they were capitalizing on it. They dominated in that first offense.
Round of applause. Round of applause to our production team. You see that +6? Yeah, that means how many ticks at Seattle have got. I had a word yesterday on Twitter talking about how we'd love to see a scoreboard, and just like that, esports engine coming out big. Shout out to the broadcast producer John Fenton. Even tell me that the boys are hard at work getting that job done. We love to see it. Seattle up right now majorly in the tick conversation. It has been a struggle for the other side, the Thieves on the attacks. I think just over 3 right now in the games. The Sib really runs right past his unfortunate opponent. He gets dropped, but it has been a solid start for the Thieves over at this A zone. Really yet to see too much adversity, as they'll be able to get that A captured, another minute added, and plenty of time to work with.
And look how much back control they have. You already have Octane who's sitting out towards that back tank, blocking these spawn, allowing his SMGs to just be super aggressive towards the middle of the map. Octane, he's able to find one. Right now, the Thieves doing a great job of just finding every single kill in the feed. The spawns for Seattle are starting to come in towards his back tank. Draza is not going to be able to read it. So now this is going to force the Thieves to try to slow play this through P5. Kenny has to try to go big, at least find 1 kill before he drops. He does not, and Seattle, they hold.
Yeah, I apologize, Jay. At the start of this round, I interrupted you by just letting out a very large size, because Kenny started off 0-8
yeah,
first round. So he's going to do his best to try to turn around. He's got 3 kills, so it's definitely better than the opener. But as we said, the Thieves are going to need that slaying potential. As we said, a roster who has not been great in the slaying numbers and respawns. See if they can try to turn it around, as they are down, rather up by 1 life for the moment. Make it 2 as Draza is able to find a great opener there on Depred, the farthest pushed up player from Seattle gets dealt with, but it's him on the other end who nearly finds 3 himself. Last player pushed up is going to be Octane, as he'll have to back on up, and really that decision is going to be made for him. Thieves wiped off the board, and now another minute to go. No real progress made at that B zone so far.
Yeah, Sib single-handedly just shuts that push down coming in from the Thieves by picking up those 2 kills. So now with 55 seconds left, you see the Thieves are trying to execute this break. It's going from top plat, but Pred does take down 1, so now this is going to slow them down once again. I would like to see someone try to go for a route. What Seattle were doing so well was just going for that flank. They're able to find a couple opening kills. Mack the huge 2 to slow it down.
Great plays. And a big Mack, 4 in a row. Not going to say it. If you watch our last series, I'm not going to say it. Now sits on 5, and there's the nade. I think I might have cursed him anyway without even trying to curse him. The streaks, for whatever reason, just not happening, Jay, when you and I are casting. I guess Pred got it in the opening hard point. Anyway, we'll toss that aside. 20 seconds left as LAT look to make the final charge. As we said, they're going to go for this. Who cares about lives? It's all about ticks. And now it's time for the push. Draws him, Spike taking fire. Dodges down and takes out Pred. We say goodbye to Sim as well. Great little push brewing right now for Thieves. A 9 versus 7, as they've got to stay alive. They can't afford for players to drop, but it's Accuracy who's able to take down 2. Draws it the last man to really go for the contest, as he will fall. It is Seattle who will clutch up on the defense. The rich seem to be getting richer. A solid little moment there for Thieves at the end, but it will not turn into enough.
Every time the Thieves thought that they had an opening, they found 2 kills, but there was always a player on the opposite side for the Seattle Surge that just evens it out. Like Sib goes huge that first go around, finding that 2-piece on that back truck area. But then Mack, he goes towards top plat. Even once Sib dies, this is the second push now coming in from Thieves. He's able to find a 2-piece as well and just basically slows down the push from the Thieves. I would have liked to see someone hit a route, like I said, to go around the backside, try to go through church, as they were continuously trying to flood through the front. Seattle, they were just prepared for it as they take the round.
And really, if you're Surge, of course, you'd love to walk away with a 3-0 win, but up by 3 ticks, I mean, you could easily make this 6 at the least. We'll see what they can do with it, given the timing and given the pressure. As Draza tries to make Seattle uncomfortable in the middle of the map. He gets dealt with, trades back and forth, and it will be the Thieves who do wipe away Surge off of the point. A streak ends for one of those Seattle players, but it's Octane who is beaming to start off this round number 3. The Thieves, they have got to get some life. As we said, Jay, since those 1v3, 2v3 clutches There has not been a positive or a 1 really next to their name on that scoreboard in a while. They desperately need some momentum in their favor.
So far, they're doing a great job on this defensive side of just keeping them off of this 8 point. 50 seconds remaining. If you're Seattle, you have to try to at least find a couple kills, but accuracy finding that kill in towards inner U should open up this 8 point for eventually Seattle to close this one out. Simp with some great shots to take down Kenny. The second tick of progression is going to come in. Pred with the flank, able to hit great shots onto Octane. Absolutely beaming is the young Australian.
Goodness sake, the rookie making him work for it. Great plays. aBeZy and Thieves are actually going to go for this. That was a great little push there at the end. Nobody looking through middle. Surge thought they had it covered, but that's right where the Thieves look to try and strike. A great reply so far in this attacking round at that A zone, but take a look at sneaky Mack. He's made his way through and currently pauses that clock at 40 seconds. He hops off the objective to help out with Pred as they've got themselves a lovely 2-man pinch working toward this side of the map as they get dealt with. They at least halt the point for the time, but it's Envoy who now sits on 6 in a row, and the Surge have yet to get that capture at A. As we said, a huge moment right now for Thieves to try to hold off this attack, hold off this final tick. They're doing a great job at it as streaks are officially acquired there for Envoy, and Surge look to pivot.
Envoy's doing a great job of just staying alive. That glide bomb could be so useful towards the later half of this game. He is not missing right now, trying to keep his team into this map number 3. But Seattle, they were able to stop that clock, get on towards this B point, and look at Pred once again on the flank, able to at least find one. Simp with the assistance to find the second, but the second tick of progression is going to come in towards B, and now Envoy has to invest his glide bomb. He does get picked as well.
And that is such a shame for Envoy. He has to use a streak in this moment because it's becoming what could be the final moments of this game. The A capture is going to come through for Surge, and it's an 8 versus 2. Drazah and Envoy left. We say goodbye to him. Drazah, the last man alive. And despite the 10 spree, despite the streak out of Envoy, and despite what was a great moment in that round 3 to start for Thieves, it will not amount to a round victory, a 3-0 in this control out of Seattle Surge, as they will move into the driver's seat in this series. And it cannot be understated, Jay. Momentum and then some on this side.
That was just way too easy for Seattle, man. To come out and win 2 offensive rounds on a map like Tuscan without even, like, you know, by getting it done, not by kills, but by completing both ticks. That was great work from them, man. You saw Envoy towards that later half of that last round right there. He started to step up. He was doing a great job of just slaying around the middle of the map. But you can just tell the Thieves were just really struggling, man, on this map. Not a single player positive on the side of the Thieves. The only one positive is Envoy. 21 non-traded kills, and he had a total of 25 kills. Someone on the Thieves has got to get a trade, man.
That's troublesome. That is troublesome. Yeah. If you are an LA Thieves fan, I mean, as we said, partner, the slang is just not there for whatever reason. You got a group of unbelievably talented slayers, yet they just can't seem to find kills. I hate to say it because it's just true, but Kenny, 7 and 22. Those are not the numbers that we expect from a player like Kylo Ken. And it's so odd because I don't know about you, Jay, but at the end of that 3rd round, it just felt like, oh, it's of course going to be a Thieves answer back. Like, they're not going to lose a second attack. I mean, Envoy, for God's sakes, is on a 10 kill spree. It's just unbelievable the way that these rounds are going. The fact that they are just not able to answer the slang no matter who they face off against.
It's difficult right now for the Thieves. Like, they're really in a bad slump. They have the potential to go 0-5 throughout this stage, when in the beginning of the year we were thinking that this team has 100% the ability to win a championship, just based off of the players that they have, the performances they were able to put up throughout Major 1. But ever since then, they just really haven't been able to put it together, man. Their hard point is shaky. Their S&D is up in the air. It's either going to be really good or they're going to give a couple rounds away by giving up a bunch of clutches. And then we know how control goes for this team. If they're not going to get a Gavutu, Tuscan has not been their best friend all year long. And that's why you see Seattle. They've been able to dominate that Tuscan control. But now we're going into a Berlin hard point. And hopefully this is what the Thieves need. You have 2 back-to-back maps where obviously the map 2 was very frustrating. The map 3 was a complete smoke show. You need to let go of these maps because you're going into a Berlin hardpoint where you have seen a lot of success. They're sitting at 4-1 on this map compared to Seattle, who are 1-2. So this is the way that the Thieves need to get back into this series. We know in the beginning of the year they were really dominant at hardpoint. They need to show it here once again to at least force this map 5.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And until that Tuscan victory, which was game 1 of this series, Berlin hardpoint, they only had 2 victories coming into this. It was the one map that Thieves have been able to secure. So if we're talking about Major 2, so far Berlin has treated the Thieves somewhat kindly. I know they did lose it yesterday versus the Guerrillas, but overall it has been a hardpoint that really has been their saving grace up to this point. I know we've been talking about the Thieves, right? The struggles, but you got to give a lot of props to this Seattle team, right? To be able to clutch the way that they did in that search destroy, that Tuscan control. Absolutely fantastic. As we continue to talk about the coin flips, how big that they are. It could have been a Gavutu, but it will be a Tuscan, and the Surge roll through that one as well. It just feels like that opening Tuscan hardpoint, Jay, just never happened. It just feels like it did not happen based off of what has been these last 2 maps as we take a look at our top performers in hardpoint, of course, excluding that map number 1. It's Kenny. Hoping to see him perform for the Thieves. And on the other side, it is good old Dante. Sib lead the way at a 1.06.
Yeah, Sib, he's been dominating, at least in this series so far when it comes to the respawn. Sitting at a 1.6 before this series even started. I'm pretty sure he was able to at least go positive 10 or 11 on that map number 1 alongside Pred, but they still lose it. So you got to fix it. If you're out slaying, you got to make sure you get the objective done. And that's what they have to do right now going into this Berlin hardpoint. They have the potential to close this one out and potential to also make the winners bracket even with a 2-3 record. This is such a big map for the Seattle Surge. They can close this one out here.
Yeah, without a doubt, partner. I mean, when we talk about these positions, right, it's all about the map count. It's all about, trying to make sure that you have as many W's in these maps, as low a losses as you can get. A 3-1 win here for Seattle could very well do it. I mean, we could look back at this map, whether it's a W or a loss, and say, yeah, that was the difference maker and what got them the 7th, the 8th seed versus potentially a 9th, 10th, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. And as we said, the Thieves, this has been a hardpoint that has treated them oh so kindly so far throughout the season. It used to be their auto veto, for God's sake, but they are dominating on rotations, dominating everywhere on the map. We'll see if it can be a comeback for LAT or a continuous statement from the side of Seattle. And one thing to keep in mind, Jay, opening hardpoints is usually where the Surge have striked. Took a look at the Game 4 hardpoint records from Surge. They tend to slow down by this point in the series. They are 1-7 on the year in Game 4 hardpoint. Something to keep in mind as we fly in for P1.
And here we go. Non-stop trades going back and forth. But Seattle, having that top plat spawn, are going to be able to secure this now by getting a clean 4 dead. Now with 35 seconds left, you see all the pressure that Seattle is still putting on the map as Mack is able to find 2 towards that middle broken area. All of LA Thieves starting to spawn towards that back train. Oh, with 25 seconds left, they just have so much map control. Mack is already on the rotation.
This is a big 2v1. Big 2v1 where Thieves, rather a 3v1. They're going to initialize everybody over toward this objective, and for good reason at that. The Thieves will be able to answer back and grab the final 10 seconds of scrap. But one thing too, Jay, I know we're mentioning all kinds of stats right now, but the 1 W that Seattle did have in those Game 4 hardpoints where I said the record is atrocious, Atlanta. It was versus Atlanta, and it was on this very map. You and I had the cast, and it was Mack who had a great performance in that one.
Yeah, Mack so far, he's stepping up in this map number 4, trying to close out the series early on rotation, finding 2 pieces when needed. You see LA Thieves, they're trying to attack this from that fire side. Right now, Seattle, they are spawning out towards back warehouse. The Thieves doing a great job of just putting on a lot of pressure to try to get them off this time, but Seattle are finding every single kill in the feed. Now this is going to allow their SMGs to try to push out, try to flip these spawns, but Kenny with 2 is going to slow that down. The Thieves have the potential to break down.
Thieves will have to be careful with these spawns too. Player 1 and player 4 going to be big right now for Seattle as the duels continue to happen in the lower side of the library. It's Octane who wins the final 1v1, but only for a moment. Pred wipes him away, and talk about the plays at a Surge. As we said, partner, the little moment right there for Seattle where they have the decision to push this for final few seconds or go for the rotation. They think about the long game, and it will work out for them. Seattle prepared for fire as we have got ourselves a tie game heading into P3.
Now LA Thieves need to get this break. Envoy with a huge first blood potentially opens this up for them as they're trying to attack this through fire, trying to attack this through street. You see that player, Mack, he finds a huge one-on-one onto Kenny from the front side. Only one player left from the Thieves in a position to at least contest this point. Envoy gets taken down in Seattle. They hold.
They hold. But the first wave draws an Octane, trying to make their own impact as well, but they get dealt with. A quick 3 in to feed straight go for Seattle. And once more, is it going to be Envoy to try to make the play? No, he gets found out as well. Great clearance right now out of Seattle, and you could just feel the Thieves. They hate to have to let that hard point go, but they're going to have to. And it could be Seattle who beat them to that race. Mack was in the opening engagements, and now as he falls, he will set up Sib with a bit of information to try and extend this current 5 kill spree. He goes down as well. Some big kills through the middle side of the map go the way of Thieves, as now they have got the rotation for Train. But it is all out pressure once more from Seattle as Pred catches one off guard. And as we said, the Surge, they just continue to get these close spawns. A great job at really one player after another extending this play forward.
The teamwork right now for Seattle is on point. When one person is going early on that rotation, even though he's dropped, their entire team are always putting a player in that position to flip these spawns, and they do so once again on this P4 hard point. But LA Thieves spawning everybody towards Train. They do a great job of just pushing right on through. They should be able to get this remaining 23 seconds to get right back into this game. This is going to force Seattle to start thinking about their rotation. Number 1 in Sib. He does get taken out from bat P2 position. This opens it up now for the Thieves.
See if they can take advantage of that opening, as we talked about a number of different dominant AR players on this roster. In P5, a lot of great angles to lock this one down from range, but they will have to be careful as accuracy has snuck his way through. Drawson does not read him, and just like that, what looked to be a great setup for Thieves, the snap of a finger, and just like that, the Surge now have control. Back and forth we go. A mixy P5 as always, is that the Thieves look to try to answer back inside of the hill. Octane tries to get going, and that is a great way to do so, taking out the rookie and making him feel every single one of those shots. As back and forth we go, Seattle reached the century mark.
And with 30 seconds left right now, Seattle, they are just putting it on them. They're able to flip those spawns towards that P5. Now they have that rotation towards that P1. If they can hold them in, this can get scary for the Thieves. Let's step aside now and go in for the listening with the LA Thieves and see how they can bring this back.
I'm trying to guide him.
Shit on.
Nice. He's in there, bro. He's gonna be in there.
Close time. Watch out.
I'm out, bro. Fire tank, half health.
Once we
there's 2 on Tom. What is that?
I'm trying to come outside you, bro. Trying to get to you still.
I'm trying to stay up. I'm gonna hit outer.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
On table heady.
I get
table heady.
I think outer.
Dill's outer.
I'm outer, guys. I don't see anything here.
Just live.
They know I'm here though, dude. I'm trying A-long.
I don't see him.
A-long behind me.
Gotta take her out here. We gotta take her out
I'm out there right now.
here.
Red is outer on you.
Outer done.
Nice one. I'm
stone, bro.
Yeah,
I'm in fire. Yo, A-long. Alright, that's all.
I had him once.
On the fucking table, one shot, bro.
I'm hitting secret. Outer door instantly.
Let's go, bro. There's one gonna be fire already.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That's one
I'll play out their door.
Yo, Lamar's on a 5.
I hear you.
Top fire dead. Lamar's on a 5.
I'm their door.
Okay, I can help you doubles.
I see the door.
I'm back.
I'm pushing it out.
Another one top mid.
Hey, I'm getting top mid.
Yeah, he's our door.
And one is inside
our door. He's gonna go open.
I can't see that guy, bro.
Hey, I don't see his open.
Fire tank. I spawned got deep dogs, bro.
Alright,
taking deep dogs.
I want
to
step.
Well, an interesting listening with the LA Thieves there, Jay. I mean, at times it felt like things were flowing, and then somebody dies, and it just turns into complaints.
Yeah, it sounded that they're a little frustrated on the side of the Thieves, man, especially Kenny. Like a couple of these kills that he potentially should be able to pick up, he's just not getting them, not finishing his kills. And right now, that's why you see Seattle Surge with such a lead that they were able to have right now. They dominate that P1. They're able to rotate towards this P2 and just chain this. If the LA Thieves do not stop the bleeding here on this P2 hard point, this is going to go to the Surge in a 3-1 fashion.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. Huge situation right now for Thieves, and they answer right on cue. It's Octane and Envoy to combine for a double. And they will break in right when they have to. As we said, Jay, the brink of what could be an 0-5 start here at the Major II Qualifiers. We'll see if they can look to try to bring this one back. A big fight for Draza to take, and he will lose it. Seattle again on the second side, prioritizing those rotations. Octane was sitting on a nice little spree, but as he falls, the time will continue to tick the opposite direction. Surge, ever closer to reaching 200 seconds. It's 250 that they have to reach before this one is called to a close. And Pred cannot fall. Pred taking down everybody on the map. In somewhat of a frustrating moment, Octane tries to go for the challenge, is able to secure it. Thieves, a glimmer, possibly, of some control over at Fire. Every single one of these seconds meaning that much more for either end. Simp as well, he gets taken down. LA Thieves with a moment for some control, but the Surge with these close spawns will continue to win the fights. Back and forth we go. Haymakers thrown as it's Mack's opportunity to throw the Fist of Fury. 210 to 136. Mack will continue on the spree. What could be the final hill or two hills of this game for LAT. This rotation has got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect. LA Thieves cannot leave any openings. They cannot allow the SMGs on the side of Seattle to try to flip these spawns, as Mack does find that opening. Octane doing a great job, doing everything he can to try to hold down Train. But look at the spawns. Look at the spawns. They already are flipped. Number 4 was able to work his way all the way through the back, which is Pred. And now Seattle Surge, 30 seconds away from closing out this series and walking away with it.
This is magic. This is mastery out of the side of Seattle, up big, and they can walk away with the game here. LAT down and nearly out as we're about to call the KO. 7 more seconds as everybody gets wiped off the map. A clear HP, and it will be the dub for the Seattle Surge as they answer back 3 games in a row, giving themselves a chance for a winner's bracket spot. We'll be keeping those updates throughout the day. While on the other side for LAT, they end their Major II qualifier campaign 0-5.
It's not good. Not good from the LA Thieves. End stage 2, 0-5. But we gotta talk about Seattle, man. This team, I wonder every time we cast these guys, what team are we gonna see? The team that shows up and plays against OpTic, that plays against Atlanta, that goes all the way to the game 5, or a team that goes up against like Boston and potentially has a down to go 3-0 or 3-1. Seattle Surge, they're just a flip of a coin, man. Any given day, this team is able to beat any team. Players just step up to a whole different level. After that map number 1, you completely let that one go. You outslay them by like 20 to 30 kills, but then for them to have tremendous ice in that search and destroy, 2 1v3s, and then to go onto that control and dominate the way that they did by winning 2 offensive rounds, it was beautiful. And then this last map was just straight textbook hardpoint coming from Seattle. Every time the Thieves have thought that they had that rotation, they had the opening to at least stop the bleeding that the Seattle Surge were putting onto them, man. It was an absolute beatdown on this last map. Seattle Surge, they were doing a great job of just controlling this game. Like I said, the SMGs were putting so much pressure on the players on the side of the LA Thieves. You have Pred and Mack, who are just making such next level plays. They find that 2Bs off the rotation. They're gonna play a corner because, you know, we got squad spawns. All we gotta do is at least if one of our teammates die, I would allow my teammates to spawn on me. But they just did a great job of just controlling this map from start to finish. Thieves simply did not have an answer, and Seattle, they walk away with it.
Yeah, man. I mean, as you said, it just felt like a number of different times where Thieves in a good spot, right? Maybe have some good map control, and then just like that, Seattle make the play. They make the conscious effort, the chess-like move versus 2 Grandmasters on the other side of the LA Thieves. Yeah. They're making the plays. Like we said, there's the back-to-back P3s, the late P4 Train, the P1s to start things off. Just excellent execution from Seattle. From really game 2 and on. As you said, it started with the clutches and it ends with dominance in the respawns. A great effort from the Seattle end. And I know we hate to wrap this up in a bow where it's just not a whole lot of positives, but not a great moment from LAT, a series where, I mean, what? It was name was talked about at the start of the day, and this is going to continue to be the narrative, Jay. What happens with the Thieves now moving forward? 0-5. Just give me a quick synopsis of where you see this team right now and heading into the Minnesota Major.
Well, honestly, I was expecting a lot when we ended that Major 1 from this team going into stage 2, but they just completely let everyone down. Now going into this Major, they're starting into losers bracket, and it's not going to be easy for them. Their SD has improved a little bit, but it's still got a lot of mistakes there. Their hardpoint used to be the best, and now it's kind of fallen off. So this team is just right now in a slump, and going into Major 2, it's going to be really difficult for those guys to try to get another top 6 finish.
Yeah, without a doubt. Not going to be an easy road for the LA Thieves as we'll bring back in the desk. I know in the predictions, Veli, Daveless, I know, Ant, you were hesitant, right? You felt like maybe your heart was saying the Surge, but your mind was telling you the Thieves.
It was,
your heart
man.
wins out today, buddy.
It's tough, man. You know, you look at the LA Thieves and you look at this map set, and it did lean a little bit towards the Surge, but, you know, start off as planned. For LA Thieves, it was like, okay, maps 2 and 3 are going to be very difficult for you to take in this series. So you got to win map 1. So they win map 1. It goes to Berlin, a map they have the advantage on. They have to win that because going into that Desert Siege S&D, they have the major advantage. Like games 4 and 5, that was the advantage for them, and they're just not able to edge it out in game 4. So many mistakes in games 2 and 3. Like that S&D, the 2 1v3s that they lost are pathetic, man. Downright absolutely pathetic for a team that's been working on their search. That's been the primary focus for the LA Thieves since this team from the beginning of the game has been search and destroy. Those are fundamental errors that they're making. Like, how do you get Ninja diffused? And then in the control, the offenses that Seattle Surge are able to win with the Slayers that you have in your team. Kenny going 7 and 22. Like, Kenny is an insanely talented player.
He's not bad.
He's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable on the map. Like, and that's a team thing. Like, they have so many issues. I do not see them making a loser's run at the major. It's very worrying because I look at this team and like, how do you make a change with this roster? Like, how do you feel comfortable giving up one of these extremely talented players? You know, while they still have high value, though, you might have to entertain a trade to another team that is willing to accept one of these players, or they continuously get smoked, and then other teams won't want your players, right? So it's a very tough decision that the management is going to have to make going forward.
Outright, there needs to be a change, whether it's a change in culture or just a change when it comes to the team. But when it comes to the Thieves, they put the L in LA. But let's take a look at the game field tactical play of the game. Let's talk about the winning team for a second, where the Ninja diffused from none other than Lamar, aka Accuracy.
Dude, look what this guy does. He makes it look so easy. I mean, he gets the kill onto Draza, right, and he runs back. It's the classic faking the kill cam, right? So Draza's like, oh, he ran back. He's going up top church, and he just crouches back, walks over here. But look at the mini map. Like, what are Octane and Envoy doing? Like, what are they watching? They back up towards the spawn. He just crouches to the bomb and diffuses it. Like, they're so scared, they're so timid, they give that up. And then don't forget, there was another 1v3 that Sib got where he gets a kill, then runs out and beats down somebody, runs away, and ends up clutching the 1v3 as well. So, you know, like, those are just blunders.
That was bad.
Like, very, very bad breakdowns of communication. Like, as, you know, a fan of that team, you have to be extremely frustrated watching. As just a fan of Call of Duty in general, that's a low-level search and destroy, things that should not be happening in the Pro League.
Yeah, but the thing is, you take a look at the entire series, right? I mean, coming off rip, we're expecting LA Thieves to really jump out the gate, win a hard point, and gain momentum off of that, right? They barely win, 250 to 218. What happens? They get smoked, search and destroy 6-2. They get smoked in control 3-0. And then the next hard point, it's not even close.
Seattle Surge, they came to play. I mean, you look at the guys like Sib and Pred, who were sort of, you know, it was more so Sib who entered sort of a slump, but they have bounced back. And I know a guy that you've been loving since the beginning of the game has been Pred, and in this series, he was so impactful. I mean, this guy in the control picks up streaks. On the map 1, even though that they lost, he was going on a streak up top church. He's so comfortable, and they put him in a map set that really suits like his play style. It was Tuscan, Tuscan, Tuscan. And then going into that Berlin, you have Accuracy, who had almost 3 minutes in the hill popping off, as well as Mack going off in the flex position. Like, this is a team that's been getting better, expanding their map pool. Berlin looks good now against one of the better Berlin teams. The P1 hold was some of the best P1 play we've seen out of teams in this game. So very excited about the future of this search team and how they've sort of, you know, changed their trajectory. They're in their slump, they bounced back out of it, and they've had a tough schedule, and they've made the most of it.
They scared me. I'm not even going to lie, man. But let's actually go into the game field post-victory spotlight with pretty boy Pred, hailing straight from APAC, man. Good big win right there. Congratulations. But Pred, Major 2 is next week, and from what we've seen from your team in Major 1, it's not the Seattle Surge that we expected to see, right? What is your mentality and just like the team's hopes going into Minnesota?
I feel like for us, obviously we had a bit of a, we went through a bit of a slump. Obviously we're new players, you know, so like the league is obviously a bit different to us. So we're just adjusting to like the gameplay and like making sure we adjust our fundamentals and stuff like that. So for us, we've been just really focusing on like watching VOD, making sure that we're doing the right plays. Because at the end of the day, we know our ceiling's high. We know we've got the gun skill and all that type of stuff. It's just more about how do we put that together as a team and how we like, you know, approach our fundamentals the correct way. I think that's one thing we were lacking. Yeah, we've had a tough schedule, but man, I'm glad that we're, you know, showing some life and showing some of our old ways, man.
Pred, congratulations on the win. Also, you know, personally, you played phenomenal in that series. And I wanted to ask you, when you guys sort of hit your slump, was it you think you figured out the game earlier and other people got a little bit complacent, or was it just maybe a little bit of a mental aspect to it? Because it seems like you and Sib now seem so much more comfortable when you're playing like how you were during kickoff time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a bit of both, man. Honestly, it's a bit of the mentality, and it also comes with, like you said, people catching up. You know.
Yeah.
We were so ahead at the start of the game that, like, you know, so we kind of knew what to do, but then obviously people caught on. That's the league. People are gonna, you know, adjust. They're gonna get better, and obviously for us being new to the league, we obviously didn't really understand that to an extent. But and also the mentality. You know, when you lose a few games, you start thinking, like, you know, doubts always come in your head, like maybe I'm doing the wrong play, like.
Yeah.
But that's something that we've, like, you know, thrown out the window and just trust our ability and trust our game plan.
And I have a follow-up question to that, because now, you know, you've had quite some time now at the pro level, and you're playing so well against some of the best teams in the game. What has been the biggest difference in terms of preparation going into matches? Like, how much more strenuous is it, and how have you handled that up until this point?
Honestly, man, we get here hella early now. Like, that's one thing. We used to, like, rock up whenever we wanted, but we rock up hella early now. Make sure we do our VODs every day. We always, like, you know, we're criticizing each other a lot more now. Just stuff like that we didn't do as much as we should have before. So I feel like that's something that we've built in our team, which is, like, you know, helped us from preventing bad plays or bad, like, ideas, XYZ, stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah, big time. Hey, congrats, Pred. Watch you give, I believe it was a 7 spree. That was absolutely nuts. Keep turning it up, man. I'll catch you in Minnesota,
Thank you,
okay?
brother. I appreciate it, man. Have a good day, boys.
You have a good day as well. I know, yeah, they're definitely having a good day. They needed
Got the dub. It was a big dub.
Can you imagine?
To be winners?
Okay, let's be real for a second. If Seattle were able to lose that game after, you know, showing a lot of promise and hope this stage, that would have been hard to regroup after.
Yeah, it would have been tough.
Especially against LA.
After having, like, sort of a, you know, a tough stage 2, this team to come out here and beat LA Thieves, which is, although LA Thieves are 0-5, they're never going to be an easy win. And you showed improvement on maps like Berlin, which is huge for them going into the major. Seattle's got to be feeling pretty good.
No, they have to. By the way, Pred was phenomenal in that matchup. You've been talking about it all year long, even from the beginning. If you take a look at the way Pred plays, especially in respawn, the man is on an island, and when Pred is feeling it, he's definitely a win condition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when he starts streaking and taking over, the game just becomes so much easier. Like, on that Tuscan, seeing him top church is absolutely slaying on rotation. He feels so comfortable. It feels so comfortable now for him on the map. You can just tell, like, they've just found their groove. And when Sib's out there picking up kills as well, it's going to open up the map. And that's why Seattle has success in hardpoint. It's been looking good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to move on with the day and jump into the second matchup. But before we do, we want to give a big shout out and props to Seattle Surge for that big win over the LA Thieves. We got to give a credit to the 2 youngsters on that team. When it comes to just making plays up close and personal, Sib and Pred led the way. And seeing Pred pass enemy lines time and time again, he showed why, you know, the beast from APAC has something to say. When it comes to Minnesota, looking forward to seeing a great performance. We'll see you in a second.